symbol of the old world and of the power vested in the local heroes here, Ferrari. San Marino is the first of the European races, and for many the start of the season proper. San Marino attracts some of the biggest crowds in Grand Prix motor racing, most of them Ferrari fanatics, the famed tifosi. Imola saw the baptism of the new John Barnard-influenced Benetton, the team's main hope of joining the Formula One vanguard.
The cameras were on board to witness the Benetton's debut, and they caught a less than auspicious first time out for Alessandro Nannini. He emerged unscathed from what was really a large shunt, but he blamed De Cesaris for sending him reeling at Villeneuve corner. Pierluigi Martini was less fortunate in the Minardi. He had a huge accident on Saturday when exiting Acqua Minerale, accelerating out of the chicane and ploughing straight into the tyre wall. The Italian braked heavily before impact, but even so he struck the barrier at speed, and it wasn't clear what had caused the accident. The car was badly damaged in the collision, the chassis absorbing most of the momentum, coming to rest only a few feet from the point of impact.
Martini suffered cuts, bruises and a cracked heel, but his car was broken in two. A day earlier, his teammate Paolo Barilla had suffered a massive spin.
Barilla had lost control of the Minardi in spectacular style, and only quick reactions from Nigel Mansell ahead prevented a much bigger incident. The Englishman hit the brakes and headed for the gravel as Barilla careered past him out of control. His car had simply accelerated over the grass. Qualifying proved to be an exciting time for Mansell. First, he made a couple of unrehearsed excursions onto the rough, trying as hard as ever for the fans. Then he decided to miss out Acqua Minerale altogether, making his Ferrari grass cutter La Macchina Agricoltura. But as usual, he was totally committed. But later he fell foul of Olivier Grouillard's Acela, which ruined his flying lap, so the Englishman went wheel to wheel with Grouillard to underline his displeasure.
Teammate Prost didn't fare much better, spinning right in front of the Tifosi. He finished 6th behind Mansell on the 3rd row. San Marino saw the debut of the Tyrrell's new revolutionary flying front wing. Designer Harvey Postlethwaite said it would make up for the car's shortfall in engine power. There was a new Brabham at Imola too, but the BT59 was still awaiting its new rear end and gearbox, so it used the old car's back end instead. It looked good enough for David Brabham, signed to the team that carries his father's name, for his first race in Formula One. His brother Gary had been replaced in the limping light by Italian veteran Bruno Giacomelli. The change didn't make any difference to the car's pathetic performance, and it didn't come close to pre-qualifying.
Most of the crowd spent the weekend sleeping on the hills, and many bring their own scaffolding to build their own grandstand. The McLarens had beaten the Ferraris to the front row again, but like Prost the season before, was Berger having problems with Senna?
Not yet, if I say we are good friends, we have no problems at all. A lot of people will laugh and will say, wait a little bit, it's too early to say this. It's true, we have still a long season in front of us, we work together all the season. But until now, I just can say he's a nice guy, he's a good friend.
200,000 Italians watched the exciting start to the race and were rewarded with a dramatic San Marino Grand Prix, full of incident and not a little controversy. The drama came quickly as the cars hurtled into the Tamburello curve, scene of Gerhard Berger's horrifying crash the previous year. Mansell ran wide, which led Ivan Capelli's Leighton-House to take to the grass, losing control immediately as Nakajima flew off at alarming speed into the guardrail. Martin Donnelly performed a touch-free 360-degree spin, avoiding his rivals who were jockeying for position.
Capelli's car was too badly damaged to continue, and the young Italian had no choice but to begin the long walk back to the pit. The onboard camera showed what happened in graphic detail as Capelli fought through the dust cloud created when Nigel Mansell ran out of track. Satoru Nakajima may have been blinded by the dust. In any case, he collided with Capelli, who'd been forced off the track on the other side. Both cars out of the race for good. Up ahead, the race continued, and a rejuvenated Nelson Piquet showed all his old verve as he swept past Prost to take 7th position on lap 3. As Senna led from Boutsen and Berger, the Formula One apprentice learned a lesson from one of his masters, Mansell. As the Englishman swept past him, remembering to close the door as Alesi tried to regain fifth position almost straight away.
But then a moment which the crowd treated with absolute glee as Ayrton Senna, whose McLaren had cracked a rear wheel, went sliding out of the race. Any misfortune for Senna was greeted by pure hysteria from the partisan Italians. But that left Thierry Boutsen out in front ahead of Senna's teammate Berger. Senna was left to climb ignominiously out of his car and work out what went wrong. He checked his wheel to try and ascertain the cause of the damage, oblivious to the derision of the spectators chanting all manner of anti-McLaren spells. Piquet had moved up to fifth place when he found his hands full trying to deal with a man many races and years his junior, Tyrrell's forceful Jean Alesi, the young Frenchman barging past the Brazilian at Tosa. Boutsen's supremacy was short-lived as he was having gearbox problems. First Berger squeezed by into the lead, and then the Belgian had to pull his Williams into the pits to retire. After Berger took the lead, Mansell was working the Tifosi up into another froth as he scorched past Patrese to take second place. But the Englishman reckoned without the mobile chicanery of Andrea De Cesaris in the Dallara. The Italian, who never seems to be able to keep his head still for long enough to use his mirrors, pushed the Brit off the track as Mansell gave him a piece of his mind after the attack.
Mansell's next brush was with Berger, who appeared to try to push him off the road, sending Mansell into a spin at 190 miles an hour, which he did brilliantly to control. Mansell's trip over the grass had forced debris into his radiator, and a few laps later it ended a race he thought had been his. With Prost out of touch with the leaders, the Englishman's demise capped the Tifosi's misery. The replay showed one of the most dramatic incidents of the season so far. Little wonder there were harsh words between Mansell and his former teammate after the race. Meanwhile, Patrese had stolen first place from Berger. The Williams had been performing superbly, and for once, the McLaren didn't have the power to establish supremacy. The battle for third place was proving just as exciting. It seemed anyone's race between Sandro Nannini and Alain Prost. In the end, the Italian won out. So Patrese went on to win only his third Grand Prix in 195 starts. The cheers may not have been as loud as they would have been for a Ferrari win, but the crowd knew the significance of the occasion in any event. In second place, Gerhard Berger, third Nannini for Benetton, and fourth Prost in the one remaining Ferrari. Piquet was fifth and Alesi sixth. After the race, an ebullient Patrese faced the cameras.